welcome to Techturks in the cloud again. We're back to the cloud because of COVID-19. And with me today, I have Diwura of Tech4Dev, one of the founding members. And Tech4Dev is actually involved in technology and empowerment to different people. But I will allow Diwura to tell me a bit more about Tech4Dev, and then we can ask you some more questions. So Diwura, thank you for coming on to Techturks. And so Tech4Dev, empowerment, digital empowerment, the appropriate time for this to be happening. How long has Tech4Dev been there? And tell us your journey.
Okay, thank you very much, Uzoma, for the invite. Tech4Dev is, this year makes it from 2016 to now, this year makes it 5 years since we started the organization. The organization is actually a non-profit focused on digital skills empowerment and advocacy. And over the years, we didn't actually start out being a digital skills empowerment and advocacy non-profit. We started in 2014 unofficially during the Ebola crisis, where everybody was pretty much scrambling around the world, the way we are scrambling around the world right now because of COVID-19, right? Well, I won't quite say around the world, around Africa and Nigeria as it were. And it was at the heart of this. I had a conversation with my dad back then, who is a professor of public health, and he was just talking about how it was difficult for people to get access to verified information around what they need to do. I mean, if you have someone who has Ebola around you, what should you do, how to protect yourself and whatnot. So at that point in time, I spoke with my partner, Joel Umshola, who is currently the Director of Partnerships and Sustainability for the organization. And the idea that we came up with at that point in time was to have a website, just as simple as that, right? Because we're disseminating information. A website that provides verified information around Ebola, how to, if you have Ebola, what to do, how to protect yourself against it, and all of that. And at that point in time, the website was called stopebola.com. I wasn't as involved at that point in time because I was doing my MBA at that moment, but my partner effectively at that point in time was able to run that old drive of pushing the information around stopebola.com, which was the name of the website at that point in time. We got ambassadors, we got people that, other people knew who could help us drive the information around Ebola at that point in time. At the end of the day, interesting times, we had about 1 million engagements, people who came to the platform. And that was sort of like the start of Tech4Dev, where at that point in time, our vision was just to solve the world's greatest problems through technology. That sounds like a grand thing, right? But that was our mission at that point in time. And we started Tech4Dev, a non-profit. Back then, it was focused on public health, civic engagement, sort of like active citizenship and digital education. However, after 2 years, we iterated, and then we decided to focus on digital education because that was the focal area we were gaining a lot of traction in terms of engagement, and then partners wanting to have conversations with us around digital skills empowerment and digital education. And then in 2015 was that iteration point for us, where we had a conversation with a potential partner. And the person was like, oh, why talk about these other things? You have like so much ongoing, right? And it's difficult to place our hands on everything. And you have a lot going on in digital education. We had our Women Texas program, which maybe sometime down the line I'll talk about. We had our Women Texas program. We had our basic digital program also running at that point. And that was like the eureka moment where we're like, oh, the bulk of the work we're actually doing is in digital education, and we can zoom in effectively on this. And that's sort of where the renewed mission for Tech4Dev started out, where we then zoomed in on digital empowerment and advocacy.
Just listening to you, I mean, like a lot of resources and effort has gone into this. Now, you have all these programs, you have all these programs, and you're an NGO. So my question is, how do you fund this? How do you create awareness for Tech4Dev? Because Tech4Dev is definitely a platform that is required in Africa today, and for many reasons. It's important, one, so that people who need the skills can connect, and also people who are looking to fund these things, because I believe sometimes there's no point in inventing the wheel. If someone else is already, why don't you just actually participate by funding instead of trying to build another ecosystem?
I mean, I think there's just in our space, there's one major way to create awareness, and it's just by telling the story of the people who have been through our programs, right? And that's what we actively do. That's what helps us to be able to effectively engage both people who have interest in joining or being a part of the technology ecosystem, and as well as funders, so donors who are looking to give grants towards digital skills sort of empowerment. It's so interesting how much social media is able to effectively help to push communication and awareness these days, but we majorly use social media. We use our website as well very effectively to push out information about what it is that we do, and we just tell the stories, because what happens at the end of the day is that people are able to see themselves. For the people who are individuals, they're able to see themselves or their stories in these people, and then they are drawn towards wanting to be a part of the program, right, and upskill themselves. For the funders, they are seeing these stories and they're seeing the lives of people that are getting impacted, and they're seeing the overall vision, which is creating that access to opportunities and platforms. And it's something that they want to key into or be a part of based off of what it is that they've seen, and then they reach out.
Okay, yeah, thanks. Another stakeholder group that we haven't mentioned are the people who actually do the training. How do you get people to participate? I mean, do you pay them, or are they doing it voluntarily, or is it a combination of both?
So it's a blend of both, right? It's a volunteer, let me put it, paid sort of like engagement, because for the level of skill set and expertise and experience that these trainers bring on board, we do not have the resources, to pay them the amount that will be due to them if they were to be doing it on a full scale, sort of like for profit. But it's sort of like a blended approach where they're volunteering their time, they're getting paid for the time in quotes, but then it's sort of, the payment is sort of like, how do I put it? Sort of like an encouragement to say, thank you for being a part of this world. Thank you for impacting your knowledge.
How has the coronavirus and epidemic affected Tech4Dev? And I guess I know the answer, but we get to hear from you.
We've been able to partner with some institutions and so the government and some other private institutions to provide physical spaces with infrastructure, right? Where people could sort of like a large space infrastructure where you could do a lot of social distancing, and then people could still get to learn using the devices in that space. The other method that it is that we've used is we've just sort of like streamlined the trainings to people who have, because the first level to even getting trained is you having access to a device, be it your device, your cousin's device, your mom's device, one device at least. And then we've been able to sort of like streamline for now the trainings to people who have access to devices, for them to be able to be the ones to run the training.